Yo, what's good, people? It's Acid. So I was literally just sitting here thinking about some other things related to gaming, of course. And one of the things I've noticed is just how the console war still even exists in this day and age. Like somehow it still exists, but I guess it's become kind of one of the things where it'll always exist just because it's probably always going to be Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. But just as a thing to say, like the console were existing. So I think all three systems, of course, have their ups and downs, their pluses, whatever, whether it be exclusives, power of the system, the controller, especially the controller. They all have their things that make you get them. Like, for instance, I love all three. I'm more or less a huge Nintendo fan, of course, but I'm a big Xbox dude. But then also at the same time, I'm also a big Sony fan to a lot of to a bigger extent. But basically, it's talking about like I don't understand how it can still exist, which I think it does exist because of like number one, of course, from when I was younger, it existed because of course back in the day I wasn't able to buy and have every single system, whenever I wanted. So you kind of had to kind of pledge allegiance to a certain company and group because you could only get what your parents could actually allow you to have. And for the most part, I always chose Nintendo up until I got a PS2. Then after I got a PS2, I wanted to get in my first job and got a 360, and it was pretty lit after that. But basically, like they all have their pluses. Just more so just a matter of what you're looking forward to having, or even what controller you like more. Like how it's been for me, like the PS2 was greatness. I never had a PS3. But the PS2 was absolute greatness. So calm, Ratchet and Clank, uh, you know, GTA, Tekken, when those was kind of exclusives back in the day. And it's like, you know, Xbox has its own, PlayStation has its own thing. Xbox really was mostly Halo, and the fact that the online was like the best at the time through Xbox Live, and then kind of everything else is kind of just, yeah, this is all better on this system. Third parties, all that. Gears, of course. And then when it comes to Nintendo, their biggest thing has mostly been for me just nostalgia. I think like nostalgia is a main big reason of why you would run to Nintendo or still be a Nintendo fan to this day. From Mario to Donkey Kong to Kid Icarus and Pokemon. Pokemon's the main reason why I'm still there. But you know, even through all that, each system has their own. It's like nowadays you kind of see where even like exclusives are starting to be less of an important factor because of how many good third party games are around. Now, I think like I don't really care as much anymore when it comes to having exclusives because I mean, shit, it's kind of a hard thing to even say, really. But I think the route that Microsoft is kind of mentioning about like having their games, just allowing more people to be able to play games versus you can only play this here in this space by this system, and that's it. It's like I get it, but I kind of don't mind that they're giving more options to people. I can play Halo now on my PC as opposed to only on my Xbox. I can play COD on everything except my Switch, of course, at least right now. I can play, what, The Last of Us now, Ratchet and Clank now on my PC. So just I think it's good to give or to have some other options for these once exclusive games to be able to play for other people who either A don't want to buy the system but want to play the game, or at least like still have exclusives to some level, but not everything that they bring out to be there. Like GTA going, on everything back in the day was like the perfect idea. Because if it stayed on PlayStation, Xbox probably for sure would not exist at the level they are at now. Imagine even Tekken. If Tekken wasn't exclusive, or I should say, if it was still an exclusive, yeah, PlayStation would be on top even more than they already are now. To whatever level. But yeah, man, I think just exclusives in general and like console war isn't really no real reason in this day and age to be that at all. To have a console war, to be at war. It's like, for one, these companies don't care nothing about you but for what's in your pocket. That's all. And also, it's like, just play what you want. It don't matter. Like, it dead ass don't matter. You know, you can play Overwatch on most things. You can play Fortnite on most things. You can play COD on most things outside the Switch. So it's like, screw it. Just buy what you want. I think that to have consoles still to be sought after, exclusives matter to some level, but I don't think they matter as much on the level as they used to. And I think it's a good thing. I think it's really, really a good thing. Like, now I don't have to only buy an Xbox if I want to play Gears and Halo. I can just get a computer and do it. You know, I now don't have to buy a PlayStation only to play what's on there. Ratchet and Clank. I almost kind of don't even want to buy a PS5 because Ratchet and Clank was the one game that I wanted to get a PlayStation 4 in the first place. So now I almost don't even have to do that because I can just now play it on my PC. So it's great. But yeah, I mean, if there's anything else that we can think about or mention about this whole console war thing, which I think doesn't need to exist, but to some level, I think with like kids, younger people, it'll probably always exist. And I think as long as it stays a financial thing, it'll probably always exist, even though it don't need to. But it is what it is. So yeah, um, go ahead and I guess like, sub, everything else. Like I said, I'm keeping this train going. We'll get more videos out. So just let me know what you think about this whole thing, also, and I'll have another one up soon. Peace.